Before the first stars blinked into being, there was Knull. He existed in the abyss, the primordial void that preceded the birth of the universe. The Celestials' forging of reality had torn light into his darkness, and Knull, god of the abyss, awakened in hatred. From his forge in the endless shadows, he crafted the All-Black, the first symbiote, a blade of living darkness, and waged a silent war against the gods of light, slaying Celestials, birthing his monstrous legions, and building the Necrosword's legacy in blood and fear. But beyond time's edge, another force stirred, a being whose hunger matched Knull's malice, Galactus. Once a mortal man named Galen from the previous cosmos, he was reborn in the crucible of the Big Bang. No god birthed him, no pantheon claimed him. He was the balance to excess, the ender of worlds, a cosmic constant draped in purple and blue armor, with eyes that burned like dying stars. Where Knull represented the void's rage, Galactus embodied the entropy of evolution. He didn't merely kill, he consumed. For eons, they danced at opposite ends of the tapestry of creation, one in darkness, one in hunger. Billions of years later, whispers began circulating among cosmic sentinels. Entire galaxies blinked out, not from hunger, but from corruption. Planets didn't die. They became twisted reflections of their former selves, wrapped in writhing shadows and enslaved by hive-minded parasites. Knull had returned. Freed from his prison by foolish mortals, his consciousness had bled across the stars like spilled ink. Worlds became nests, gods became hosts, and a new Grendel-class symbiote, fused with celestial armor, stormed through reality. When Ego, the living planet, fell to the corruption, it sent shockwaves across the higher orders of the cosmos. The living tribunal withdrew into silence. Watu watched but did not interfere. The Silver Surfer, sensing the anomaly, raced to the edge of a collapsing sector and found a horror too old for memory. A realm of absolute darkness, moving like a living plague. At its center, Knull himself. And in that moment, the Surfer knew only one being could confront such abyssal might. On the edge of the Andromeda expanse, Galactus slept, but sleep for him was never true rest. It was calculation, absorption, a rebalancing of cosmic order. He dreamed of decay, and in the void of his mind, something foreign crept in. Not fear, but disdain, an ancient presence mocking him, calling him glutton, pretender, maggot of the light. Galactus opened his eyes, and stars shivered. The Silver Surfer appeared before him, his silver frayed.
I know of him, Galactus intoned. The womb of darkness. The first void. He is not my equal. He believes you are not his, replied the Surfer. Galactus did not respond with words. His ship, more massive than solar systems, formed instantly from folded space. And as it opened like a blooming lotus of quantum steel, Galactus stepped forward. Knull had carved a kingdom from living death. Floating in a crucible of eviscerated stars was his throne of shadow, a living, writhing palace made of symbiote matter and the hollowed husks of celestials. At its base, the All-Black howled with pleasure. The king in black reclined, silver hair cascading like moonlight. A smile carved across his pale face. He had seen the approach of Galactus not with eyes, but through the gravitational pull of his arrogance. He comes, Knull whispered, voice echoing through his hive. Let the god of hunger kneel before the god of darkness. He stood, the All-Black now coiled around his arm, forming blades, wings, tendrils, and spires of anti-life. Behind him, the symbiote Godstorm pulsed, an entire fleet of shadow dragons bred for war. Galactus arrived in a sphere of collapsing dimensions. Energy surged from his fingertips like liquid starlight. No words were exchanged. None were needed. The clash was inevitable. Across the cosmos, the most ancient beings wept. Shou Lao, the dragon spirit of Kaon Lun, curled into its molten heart and whispered, "The Eater of Worlds battles the end of all light." In Asgard, the Norns saw twin fates, one in which all life ends in writhing shadow, another in which entropy devours the last spark. The Watchers gathered in silence on a broken moon, knowing that what would come next would be felt even beyond the multiverse. The clash between Galactus and Knull was not just a battle of strength, but of philosophies. Hunger versus hatred, evolution versus annihilation. Time unraveled. When Galactus unleashed the power cosmic, the very laws of existence bent. Waves of radiant entropy surged across space like molten rivers of energy, vaporizing stars and silencing solar winds. Planets and neighboring systems turned to dust as his first blow landed not at Knull, but at the very core of the Shadow Throne. Knull did not flinch. The All-Black screamed to life, becoming a black hole blade that absorbed the oncoming force. With a single motion, he deflected the blast and sent it spiraling back infused with necrotic void, turning light into rot. Galactus caught it, his massive hand glowing with cosmic sigils, but even he staggered slightly. "I was old before your universe was born," Knull growled. "You hunger for worlds. I devour truth." The god of the void hurled himself into the sky, wings of shadow expanding like a storm across light years, and he collided with Galactus in a thunderclap that shattered the soundless vacuum. The impact cracked moons like glass ornaments. Knull's blade found armor and tore through. Galactus reeled, but retaliated by summoning the gravity of collapsed suns. Planets that had long since died rose from their graves to orbit him as weapons. He hurled them like cannonballs worlds turned into hammers. Knull's wings split, reshaping into serpents of living shadow, each one devouring a planet mid-flight and vomiting the core in return. It was not battle. It was apocalypse. Knull called forth his legions. The symbiote godstorm surged from his throne. Dragons, titans, fallen celestials, infused with living abyssal, screamed through the void in his name. But Galactus was not alone. From deep within his being, he summoned remnants of ancient energy, the essences of worlds long devoured, given form. Cosmic avatars, blazing with the memory of civilizations lost. Some took the shape of living galaxies, others of titanic beasts of light. The void between them became a warfront. Symbiote dragons clashed with spectral beasts made of dying suns. Explosions of black, ichor, and golden plasma turned the surrounding cosmos into a graveyard. Galactus focused his might, both hands raised, channeling the full breadth of the power cosmic into one singular, devastating blast. It wasn't energy, it was purpose, the force of change, the necessity of endings. The beam struck Knull directly, tearing apart his midsection, sending shockwaves through the hive mind. Knull fell back, shrieking, but in that scream, he laughed. In the pit of his chest, where a heart should be, there was only a swirling mass of nothingness. The wound Galactus inflicted only made Knull stronger, feeding the void within him. He transformed. The all-black became armor, tendrils, wings, and claws. Knull grew to match Galactus in size, his eyes now deep wells of anti-light. He tackled the World Eater through a dying star, and for a moment, the two titans disappeared in blinding brilliance. Then, from the debris, Knull emerged, dragging Galactus by the throat. "You are not a god," he whispered. "You are a parasite, leeching from what others create. I am the void that birthed all." With a roar, he plunged the all-black into Galactus' chest. For the first time in millennia, Galactus screamed, but pain awakened memory. Galactus remembered being Galen. He remembered the silence before existence, the final survivors of a dying multiverse, the loneliness of rebirth. He remembered that he was not made to serve or kneel. He was made to balance. From the depths of his being, Galactus summoned the World Heart, fragment of the very energy that created the current cosmos. He drew it into himself, his armor cracking and shattering to reveal pure, blinding cosmic form. He exploded outward in a pillar of white, blue, and violet flame. The all-black snapped. Knull recoiled in disbelief. Galactus grew not in size, but in presence. He eclipsed entire dimensions. Galactus became a star field of sentient hunger, an abstract concept given wrath. He struck Knull once. Only once. The Void God, with all his legions and darkness, was hurled across parsecs. His form unraveled into strands of writhing shadow. His symbiote hive screamed and dissolved. The throne shattered. Knull tried to rise, but Galactus appeared before him, larger than any concept of shape. With a voice that rippled across realities, Galactus whispered, "No more darkness." And he consumed Knull, not killed, devoured, swallowed into the eternal hunger of the cosmic force of balance.